Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. This is another general knowledge reaction. I've really been enjoying this channel lately, and yeah, I'm down to do more. If there's more suggestions out there, I really do enjoy. Well, I really am enjoying just the videos that I'm seeing so far from the channel. But this video is maybe a controversial type video. I don't really know, but the video title is "New Countries That Might Exist Soon." I'm assuming this is going to be countries like, or sorry, not countries, but possible countries like. The one that I'm thinking of is Catalonia, and that's the reason for that is because it's like a big sort of topic for discussion in the UK, in Europe, and I've actually been to Barcelona before once, and you can sense like the strong sort of Catalonian sort of aura. Just like how like you can tell that they do believe that they're their own country and they should be split from Spain themselves. So that's gonna be one of my guesses. I don't really know other ones to be sure, but like maybe places like. I know it's a controversial, but like Palestine, I don't know. I think that's between Palestine and Israel, or Israel and Palestine. I'm not too sure, but again, they're just my guesses. I don't really know what this video is going to touch upon. I might be completely wrong, but we're going to check this out anyway. And yeah, let's just check this out. I really do enjoy these reactions, so I mean, I'm down to do more of these if you want some. But yeah, quick shout out to my Instagram and my Twitter, links in the description if you want to follow me on there. I try to talk to as many of you guys as I can, but there's a lot of messages I get, so apologies if I can't get to you. But also links to my second channel on YouTube. We're closing in. I can't talk. Closing in on 10k, and it's unbelievable. I'm closing in on 70k on the main channel and 10k on the second. Crazy stuff. Honestly, it blows my mind. But I just want to thank you all for the support, and for those interested, links are in the description for that. But let's check this one out. I am interested in seeing what he touches upon here, because again, this is quite a touchy subject, but we're here to see this sort of stuff, so hopefully you're going to enjoy. And yeah, let's get into this.
Here on the channel, we've talked about countries that never existed, unknown countries, and countries that used to exist. Today, I thought we'd take a look at new countries that might exist soon, with the possibility of being created in the coming years/decades. Now, to be clear, I'm not supporting the independence of these regions specifically, so don't get mad at me in the comments. I'm just listing out the regions in which there are strong independence movements, or regional governments who seek independence. So let's get started. First, Catalonia.
Yeah, it's the obvious one, isn't
Barcelona.
it? Is this a sort of a big topic in the US, or do people really know about this one in the US, or is it not really a thing that many people know about there? Because again, in Europe it is a very sort of well-known thing, especially because it's Barcelona, and like Barcelona being such a big presence in Europe because of their football teams, it just makes it emphasizes it even more. So I don't know if it is well known in the US, or even wherever you're from, Canada, or like places that aren't in Europe. Basically, I'm intrigued to see if that's a thing that people know about.
Being located
probably
in
is
the northeast of Spain, Catalonia has been wanting independence for a while. It's one of the country's richest provinces, so they probably think they can do very well without Spain, and have been seeking independence, both through popular movements and even through the regional government itself. There was a referendum in 2014, but it was deemed illegal and not valid.
Of the people it was against who voted, Spain, yeah?
8% wanted independence. In 2017, they tried again. And pretty much the same thing happened with the referendum being invalid.
You just know if this was voted at 80% in favour for staying in Spain, this would not be considered, would it? It would be like, this is the perfect vote. This is why they want to stay. Because this is against them, that's what they're doing.
We need to take into account that Spain is made up of several autonomous regions, many of which were their own kingdoms up to medieval times. Catalonia used to be part of the Kingdom of Aragon, so their desire for independence might come from that historical separation.
Jeez, that's from time
the issue
ago.
For Spain is that granting Catalonia independence could trigger a domino effect and effectively dissolve the country into a lot of smaller states. There are independence movements in other communities, like Galicia, the Basque country, or Andalusia, although in smaller dimensions than Catalonia's. Next, Kurdistan. This one has the bad luck of being located in one of the world's most...
Oh, so this must be a very, very heated one then. So it's like touching the east side of Turkey, and it's sort of going into Iran, to Iraq, to Syria. Oh, geez, that could be a very sort of like, I don't know how to explain it, but like you can already sort of see how this would be like a very sort of controversial one for sure.
Unstable
Four
regions
different
of
countries.
our time, the Middle East. They have fought and argued for a separate state for the people of Kurdish ethnicity for a while, but until now they haven't been able to get it. The maximum claim of their territory spreads from part of Turkey to Syria, Iraq, and Iran. Those who want the formation of a sovereign state claim that these regions are of Kurdish majority and therefore should be able to rule themselves. Others are a bit more moderate and simply want more autonomy within the current national limits of states in the regions, and some progress has been made in this aspect. In Iraq, the Iraqi Kurdistan has been granted the status of autonomous region.
Oh, wow.
They held a referendum in September of 2017,
Well, that's a surprise
and
to me.
92% of the voters wanted independence, but Iraq rejected the vote. There was also a small kingdom of Kurdistan inside Iraq on the
So they let them do it, and then they saw that they voted for it, and they're like, maybe not. Maybe we just all stay together. See, that just sums up humans in general, doesn't it? Like, it just sort of like, you can have your freedom to sort of vote and all these different things, but if it's against what our wishes and what we want, it doesn't count to anything.
border with Persia
God's
at the
sake.
time, but it only lasted from 1922 to 1924 and was always unrecognized. So their fight for independence
So it's been going on for
continues. Now we
years.
travel to Africa for East and West Libya. After
Okay.
the revolution in Libya a few years back, the country has dived into a lot of instability.
Look at the split. So this red with this red up, like this area here. I don't know why I pointed it onto my screen. No one can see that. So this area here, and then this little area here. That's very, very. Like, that's a very sort of strange sort of one to compare to others. Like, it's weird how there's a little area here that's sort of this one in the same kind of rules as this place.
From what I
This
can
side.
understand, there's basically a lot of
East
different
Libya.
entities and governments trying to be in control and rule the country, and they don't exactly get along. Other than the many self-proclaimed governments which don't seem to have gathered much support, at least so far, there are two main areas of control. One is the internationally recognized and UN-backed government in Tripoli, which is the West, and then some regions which favor General Haftar's government in the East, based on the city of Tobruk. The conflict between these two main factions could result in an actual split of the country,
Wow.
creating two new sovereign states. Now we go to everyone's favorite place, the Balkans.
Here we
When
go.
you
Serbia, Montenegro, Kosovo, Croatia, Bosnia. I swear there's a few more. Albania. See, I do know a lot about this one. I don't know much about the Balkan War, but I do know just the countries in general because it's sort of the things that I used to enjoy really learning about. There's probably a few that I'm missing. I apologize if you're from one of those nations.
Yugoslavia split, we got Slovenia, Croatia,
I think that was
Serbia, Bosnia,
Oh, Slovenia.
Macedonia, and Montenegro. There's also Kosovo, which, as we know, causes a lot of discussion
And
regarding
Macedonia
its
as well.
independence or autonomy. But guess what? There's another separation issue that everyone can
God
argue
damn.
over. Now, this is a little confusing, but inside
Looks like
Bosnia-Herzegovina,
Serbia-ish.
there are two main regions. The Federation of Bosnia-Herzegovina, which has a big Croat population, and Republika Srpska, which I can't pronounce. It's called the Serb Republic, or RS for short. Not to be confused with the actual nation of Serbia, which is right next door. The RS has a big Serb majority, and so for a while, they've been
When you look at that, 83% are Serbs, 12.6% are Bosnians, 2.27 Croats. Wow, so it is a very strong Serb area, I guess you could say.
wanting independence from
Serb
Bosnia.
population.
Local authorities have tried to hold a referendum, but the Bosnian central government refuses it because obviously they don't want to lose a big chunk of their country. Moving to one of my favorite places, Scotland.
Scotland?
The Scottish people had their
Scotland is a country though, isn't it? I mean, it is considered a country. I know what he's getting at here because like they want to leave the EU, or they didn't initially, but because the Brexit stuff that happened, they wanted to leave. But I still consider Scotland a country. So I'm interested in seeing what he says here because I don't know. This is an interesting one for me to see as well,
in 2014.
especially it being so close to
By
home.
a somewhat narrow margin, they preferred remaining in the UK instead of being independent. But since 2014 until now, a lot has happened, especially all the issues with Brexit. A lot of people argue that one of the main reasons that led Scottish people to want to remain in the UK was that they wanted to remain in the EU. If they had left, their admission at the time into the Union might have been blocked by the UK itself or by other countries which want to disencourage independence movements within their own countries, like Spain. This is evident in the fact that when the UK voted for Brexit, almost all of Scotland, if not all, voted against it, wanting to remain in the EU. In fact, ever since this happened, the Scottish government has insisted and even taken steps so that a new referendum for Scotland takes place and the Scottish people get to have their say on independence once more. The effects of Brexit might lead to a lot of issues with the unity of the UK, but that's a topic for another video. Back to Africa, Somaliland. This region already considers itself as independent.
The UK is falling apart. It is. It's funny, but honestly, when it comes to that sort of stuff, I'm not really like. I just feel like just let the countries do what they want to do. I mean, when it comes to like Scotland leaving Great Britain or the UK, etc. Like I don't see why people get so sort of annoyed by it. Just let them, if they want to leave, just let them leave. If they want to stay, let them stay. Like there's a lot of controversial sort of takes on that in the UK, and I don't really know why.
And it actually has an official diplomatic relations with a few countries. But the government is only recognized as de facto internationally. It's located on the northwest of Somalia, a region that's also ridden with instability and issues in general. This has led to the area of Somaliland to effectively separate itself from Somalia. They have their own government, currency, and army. Somalia as a whole is kind of a mess right now. There's Somaliland, which is pretty much independent. Then there's Somalia itself. Then there's areas controlled by Ethiopia in support of Somalia. And then we have areas ruled directly by the African Union, while certain local militias take control of other regions. It seems as if the self-proclamation of independence of Somaliland has gone okay, and they've been able to function well as a nation on their own within the limitations of the region. All that's left is to settle their dispute with Somalia and have international recognition. The next one is in Russia, technically. Kaliningrad. This is that little piece of Russian land.
This is always intriguing. I don't know why that's the case, but I've always been interested by this little sort of area that's still like Russia. We're gonna obviously learn through this, but it's always piqued my interest, and I've never sort of known why that's the case.
That we always see in maps in the middle of Europe and wonder why Russia has this exclave between Poland and Lithuania. Kaliningrad is part of the Russian Federation because after 1945, the northern half of the former East Prussia was annexed to the USSR. After 1991, Kaliningrad stayed Russian because it was not a republic within the Union, so it couldn't ask for independence. It was a part of the Russian Republic, and it was mostly populated by Russians already, and apparently no one else wanted it, either because of the trouble of incorporating a foreign territory or because they didn't want to anger the Russians. So even today, the odds of it becoming independent are, I would say, very, very small. Some people state it should be given back to Germany, but Germany doesn't want it, and the Baltic countries plus Poland probably still don't want to anger Russia or deal with the issues of incorporating a large region in their countries. Ever since 2004, with the enlargement of the EU, the region has become further isolated from their own country. So logic would dictate that some type of solution would be found. But I don't think we'll see a change in this anytime soon. In Asia, Korea. Now, I know what you're thinking. Korea already exists, and
This is one that's always interested me. I feel like this is probably the most interesting one for everyone, to be honest. Like the North Korea and South Korea sort of divide. It's one of those ones that's just so interesting. There's so many sort of aspects of this that just sort of like, it's just crazy, really. It's just crazy how they're so separated. It's crazy to me. We're going to see more about this, and I swear they signed something recently. I don't know what it was, but I swear there's something that happened between the two, like to sort of slowly get back to like where they want to get, I guess.
But I mean a united Korea. We've been hearing about North and South Korea a lot.
The stories
lately,
are sad as well.
and not for the best reasons. For a big part of its history, Korea was a single kingdom. Only after World War II and during the Cold War did its division take place, between the North, influenced by the USSR, and the South, influenced by the US.
I mean, we saw which side prospered, right? I feel so bad for the North Koreans, and it's because it's like there was families like split apart, wasn't there? It's actually so depressing when you really think about it, but you see the differences, how South Korea has thrived so much, and you see some of the things to do with North Korea, and it's just like mad how they're so close but so different at the same time.
However, even though the Korean War was never officially ended, and only an armistice was signed, not a peace treaty,
so that's what it was.
There is somewhat of a process of reunification going on. On the 15th of June of 2000, there took place the North-South Joint Declaration. The first point of the declaration is the South and the North have agreed to resolve the question of reunification independently and through the joint efforts of the Korean people, who are the masters of the country, singular. This was reinforced in 2018 with the Panmunjom Declaration for Peace, Prosperity, and reunification of the Korean Peninsula. The first steps would most likely be the full verified denuclearization of the peninsula, being followed with the de-escalation of military tensions, a formal end to the war, and more cooperation between the two countries at social and economic levels, leading to a possible unification. But of course, for this to happen, the oppressive regime of the North would have to open itself and come to an end, something that seems unlikely, at least for now. And finally, Western Sahara.
I hope they
this
can do that,
is
man,
a
honestly.
disputed territory that is claimed by locals and also by Morocco. Up to this day, its status is somewhat undetermined.
Western Sahara. See, this was, I swear there's a video that I watched recently that was sort of touched upon this. I think it was the one talking about all countries in the world. I might be wrong with that, but this one, like, it's not considered a country, but there's obviously like cities within this space. I always thought like this place was just uninhabited. Uninhabited. That's not how you say it. I don't know how you say it. Oh no, but that's gonna be clipped up. But what I'm seeing here is that there's like towns and the cities there. That's really surprising to me. I thought it was just all desert. Oh, I just went back.
There were conflicts between the two sides.
Uninhabited.
And since 1991, the UN has been able to enforce a ceasefire. But they also don't recognize a winner and sovereign of the area. At an international level, some countries agree it belongs to Morocco, others treat it as a separate country. Negotiations are still going on, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. Hopefully they'll resolve it peacefully. So those were a few regions in the world that might become independent in the future.
I feel like the most certain is definitely Catalonia. It's only a matter of time at this point. It really is. And this video was a year ago, so a lot of these have probably progressed to certain degrees. But yeah,
forming new countries
really interesting,
or
this
reinstating historical ones throughout the world. A lot of these were already mentioned in previous videos because, like I said, a lot of them have history as independent kingdoms or nations throughout history in the past. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. As always, leave a comment below with...
Shout out to this guy, man. Honestly, he makes some really good videos. But I wanna see some of these. If you enjoyed the video, check out part 2. If United Kingdom loses Scotland, the white X in the UK's flag will be gone weird. That's true. That is actually true. What would actually happen there? Would they have to like sort of add green for Wales, which would be really weird? That's actually a really good point. That's a really good point. But when it comes to this, a lot of people, like patriotic people from the UK or from England, get really sort of like controversial about it. I don't know why. Just if Scotland want to leave and the people from Scotland want to leave, let them do it, man. Like, it's just one of those things. Things happen. I don't know. Maybe I'm not educated enough to really talk about it, but it's always interesting why people get so annoyed about this in the UK. But when it comes to it, it makes you realise how the UK is really falling apart at this point. But the Bosnian central government refused it. We have a government. Russia has no intention of letting go of Kaliningrad. It's one of their most strategic military bases. Oh, wow. How to start an argument on the internet easily. You forgot to mention. That's true. That's one of those topics that is touchy when it comes to Palestine, though, isn't it? So I'm probably not going to touch upon that. But still, hopefully you guys enjoyed this reaction. I'm definitely going to be doing more of the general knowledge videos because I like this channel a lot. I really am enjoying these videos. A lot of the geography type reactions. I assume he does history type things as well, I assume. But still, this is sort of mixed with history and geography, to be fair, actually. So, I mean, it's a mixture of two sort of bags. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this reaction. Suggest some more stuff you want to see in future. And until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.